Good morning, East Castle Place. How's everybody doing? Welcome to this edition of Coffee with Tyler here on the last edition in January. Can't believe we're already there. January 28th. So here we are. Hope you have your favorite cup of coffee or a drink alongside you and join me in the first sip. Alright. As you can see, I treated myself this morning to a little cup of joe. So, alright, so this week's Coffee with Tyler, there's going to not be as much covered because we also have the State of the Castle meeting. They will see a number of directors provide updates. So there may be a little overlap and re-emphasis, but at the end of the day, please also plan to tune into the State of the Castle. So, first and foremost, COVID-19, where do we stand? So, from a COVID-19 standpoint, we continue our 2-time per week testing for residents in assisted living, skilled nursing, as well as our memory support area, along with direct care staff and other staff members, roughly in the 100 to 120 employee range each week being tested. The test continued to pan out well for the residents, as we currently do not have any residents with COVID-19 or symptoms, and we continue to have one employee on average each week test positive. Now, I can tell you that these employees that are testing positive are not community associated. So what do I mean by that? It means that through our contact tracing and because of the testing we're doing, we can determine that it's actually coming from the outside sources. So, for instance, this week we had an employee whose spouse tested positive for COVID-19. Precautionarily, as we do, the employee was held out until their test results returned. Unfortunately, that employee tested positive as well, which again happens just because of the close proximity that obviously that household lives. But again, through the testing process, that employee is being held out. That employee is asymptomatic, they are doing well, and again, they'll be in that isolation period for the 10 to 14 days as determined by our infection control nurse. And then they'll return to work and move on. So, again, that does leave some departments running a little bit leaner than historically or how we would like, but the teams are doing a really nice job in trying to make sure the services provided and the expediency of those services are still provided so that there's not a lapse in that service. Again, from a COVID-19 standpoint, you'll see this in the memo as well. There are no current employees with COVID-19, which is a good thing. But as I stated last week, and as I stated in the State of the Castle, COVID-19 is a real threat. Just because we've had success with residents does not mean that we can put our guard down. Our masks must still be worn. We still have to do the proper social distancing and mitigating the risks associated with COVID-19 and the steps we've taken for the last 11 months. And I can't believe it's been 11 months already. Obviously a lot has happened and a lot of changes have been made, and those changes will continue. So we look forward to February 3rd, which I'll jump into here shortly. But again, want to reiterate the continued concern that we must have and continued diligence we must have as the threat of COVID continues. I know you've seen the numbers. I know you've watched the news about where the trajectory is going from a U.S. and Wisconsin standpoint, and we're still not where we need to be. So again, please, please, please do your part. Our employees continue to do their part, and we continue to try and make it as safe an environment for you as possible. At the end of the day, it is your decision and your responsibility to take part in that, and again, the risks associated with that if you do not adhere to that. Now, if I see you or a staff member sees you in the hallway without one of these, we will discuss with you the importance of wearing these face masks and ask you to go back to your apartment to get your face mask. So please, these face masks, time and time again, I cannot emphasize how much these are important to mitigate that risk of COVID-19. With that, you all received this memo, yes, last week. It was a front and back. The back side will actually get put to the front side this week. Reiteration of that, since we have gone through the consent portion of preparing for the vaccine clinic. I'm very, very happy to report from a resident standpoint that, you know, we are close to 98, 99% of residents that have consented to the vaccine. That's, again, we have roughly 3 to 7 residents that we need to follow up with. But big shout out to Maureen and Teresa for doing and assisting residents in the Bradford Terrace, Water Tower, Contemporary Historic Buildings in preparation for the for the COVID-19 vaccine. So again, if for some reason you missed it, or you're like, hey, I don't remember filling that out, or what does that mean, let us know. We're happy to help. We do have a roster, again, of those residents that did fill out the consents. We have those consents, and we'll provide those to CVS, and again, we'll provide those consents back to you at the time of the vaccine clinic on next Wednesday, February 3rd. So, again, this will all be written out in your memo that you received today. But again, this is February 3rd is the date. The tentative schedule, and I must reiterate tentative, and I ask for patience and understanding on the day of the clinic, because the last time we went through this, it went smooth. However, there were still some minor hiccups with just timing. And so we have times allotted there, and there's some overlap from the times. And again, we're trying to mitigate the gathering of those. But again, from 1 to 2 is really when the clinic really starts with Bradford Terrace and Water Tower residents, going into Contemporary, followed by Historic. You will have to wait 15 minutes after receiving the shot. That waiting room is essentially the dining room at this time. We'll have water and a small snack for you as you're waiting, and we'll also have a nurse there to monitor you. So again, the vaccine clinic, the first one is happening February 3rd. You'll see this again. We really need you to wear a short-sleeved shirt or something to have access right to your shoulder, left or right, you choose, and then you will receive that first dose of the vaccine. With the Moderna vaccine, there is a second dose, and that second dose clinic is set up for 28 days later. At this time, it's tentatively scheduled for March 3rd. You can go ahead and mark your calendars for that date in preparation for this, and more details will follow. But with that being said, February 3rd is the next big date. Some are saying a historic date. It's a step in the right direction. And so again, the vaccine is the fight against COVID-19. We'll make sure we have a number of employees that did a short clip on the reasons why they received the vaccine. I can tell you personally, I think I might have shared last week, personally I did it for, again, my safety as well as my family's, and most importantly, for the residents and staff that I get to interact with each and every day. It's also one of the first steps to getting back to normalcy. At least that's our hope. Now, what is that new normal, or what does that normal look like? Well, that's to be determined, and I think we're all excited for that. But again, I want to reemphasize, we can't just put our guards down and go back to normal after February 3rd. Masks will still be worn. That second dose, which does get you to that 95, 96% immunity rate from what the studies are saying, won't happen until March 3rd, and then actually 14 days after that or so. That's kind of the tentative time frame. So with that being said, we are looking at our visitors policies. You know that for those in our skilled nursing and memory care and assisted living areas, per the state, we did set up the fireplace room to take on some of those visits. Again, as safe as possible, monitoring and again, allowing for sanitation and things of that nature to take place in that fireplace room after those visits do happen. What does that mean for us in independent living, you might be asking? That is, again, to be determined. My focus, and I want your focus to be on February 3rd. I know I've had conversations with you. I know that many of you are missing that connection with your loved ones. Again, that time will come, and I ask for your patience. So again, that has not been determined at this point. I am working actively with the team to make sure we're appropriately and making sure that we're taking the right steps into how that process goes. But I want your focus to stay on February 3rd. With that being said, we also made the determination this week that the dining room, just based on the logic of that vaccine, is going to reopen in March. So again, that information will progress within the month of February. I know that a survey went out. I know that we had residents that said, sure, I want to dine in the dining room. Again, we had the dining room open back in September, October area. In talking with Carlos and just talking with the team, I think logically it just makes sense to target the middle of March once that second vaccine is offered. So if there's questions about that, let me know. I know that it is getting a little old with the delivery, and you're missing that socialization aspect. Trust me, our kitchen team is too. And so again, I think we just want to take the precautionary steps to take care of that. So that's really it on COVID-19 at this time. Again, hopefully you received the fact sheet as well. Put some more information today on that with the vaccine clinic information and what that looks like. You're going to have a sip of coffee. Again, as always, with any COVID-19 questions, please let me know. Teresa Jenkins, Maureen Scribner, we're here for you. I'll send out the memos to your loved ones that I have emails for as well to keep them updated so that you and your loved ones can have that conversation. All right, we had our first, I guess not first, but bigger snowstorm of the season, and I want to give a huge shout out to our maintenance team for making the paths clear, working hard, and making sure that the snow is removed to the best of our ability. Now we can use some assistance in that, and the assistance is for those that are parking on the surface lot. If you can remove your vehicles and park in areas where there is not snow, our team can go back and do some cleanup. Eric and I are game planning on how that might look so that our team can clear the parking lot as effectively as possible. So if you do park on the surface lot, please reach out to Maureen, and I will give Maureen some information that she can share with you on kind of our game plan so that we can get the surface lot as clean as possible, as safe as possible. Last thing I want is for the slips and falls to happen. Again, slips and falls, I want you to take extra precaution. I know many of you still like to walk outside and get that fresh air, and I encourage that. But at the same time, with the weather, I want you to be very, very mindful of that. Take the additional time, even as you're walking out to get to the car for whether that be a doctor's appointment or something of that nature. I do not want to see anybody slip and fall because you're walking to Starbucks or on Downer Avenue. It is slippery. Again, we're doing our part to the best of our ability to make sure the paths are clear, salted, etc. It is a large task the guys have on hand. I think they started Tuesday morning around 3 a.m. and worked till about 3 p.m. and then I know they're still working through cleanup. So if you see Rusty or Mark or Rob or Jake or Eric or Nick, please give them a pat on the back. Thank you for what they do in removing that snow. Also today, as I'm taping this, it was negative 10 degrees with the windshield where I came from. It's cold. If you do go outside, please bundle up. Please be appropriate. Please don't spend too much time out there. Although you may feel that you're warm and safe, any exposed areas do have the potential for frostbite, and of course we don't want that. Again, I know a number of you have lived in Wisconsin for a number of years. This is nothing new to you, purely a reminder for you. So again, if you are looking for that fresh air, I encourage it in small doses, in safe doses. The fire detection group, the annual fire testing hopefully is wrapping up this week. Thank you for your participation and understanding in that annual process. Hopefully it was smooth for you. If there's questions or if you have to come back to your apartment, we'll let you know. But if there's questions, please reach out to Eric or myself. Again, the State of the Castle really has a lot more information for you. So my Coffee with Tyler is pretty short and sweet this week. Hopefully you tuned in and hopefully some information helped you out. Again, if there's questions or concerns, always shoot me an email. Stop by my office, stop me in the hallway. Give me a call on my office phone. My door is always open for you. The last couple of days it was closed. I had some training that I was participating in for LCS, but that training has since concluded. And so I'm excited for that door to be open, and I'm excited to see the smiles and the highs and the hellos. So do know how much I appreciate those. Do know how much that means to me. And so I appreciate those opportunities to sit down and chat. That's what I'm here for. As much as the behind the desk work needs to happen, that's not my favorite part of the job. So my favorite part is interacting with you, making sure that we're meeting your needs, your requests, making sure East Castle Place is your home. That's what I love. I know that's what our staff members are dedicated to as well. So with that, I'm actually going to put a wrap on this Coffee with Tyler. Again, everybody from my family's doing well. Next week, Friday, I'll actually be out of the office just due to Hunter turning 4 months and wanting to get his 4-month checkup. I can't believe it's been 4 months. It seems like yesterday where we were in the hospital and I saw him for the first time. He's doing well, he's growing, so thank you for all of your inquiries. Love sharing pictures as I see them. So with that, next week's, the other thing I want to just mention, next week's Coffee with Tyler may be slightly delayed. Again, I usually film these on Wednesdays. Wednesday's a really big day for us, so if there is a delay, the other thing is also I kind of would like to do a recap of how the vaccine clinic went. So most likely the Coffee with Tyler will air on Friday next week, but check your local listings, aka your weekly schedules that Laura puts out, and take a peek at those. But the Coffee with Tyler's may be having a slight time change. So again, we'll make sure we notate that in the weekly schedule and then up on channel 955. All right, with that, I'm going to sign off with a sip. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for everybody's encouragement and efforts in this continued fight against COVID-19. We will get through it. We have to get through it. Again, the threat is there. These masks are a must. And again, excited for the first vaccine clinic date next week, Wednesday, February 3rd. Until then, we'll see you around. If you need anything, you know how to get a hold of me. Take care, everyone. Have a great day.